Hey guys, Camper 15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I am back with another episode review of Oshi No Ko. Man, just when I thought this show, this last episode was great, this episode blew me for a fucking loop, dude. It almost makes me ashamed that I watched Jack of all trades first before I watched Oshi No Ko. Now, guess what? Now I'll be watching Oshi No Ko first, and then next thing you know, albeit the episode will be hyped, and then with Jack of all trades. Oh my god. What I'm talking about. That's what I'm freaking talking about. But dude, man, when I watched the last few moments of that episode tonight, and it pissed me off so much, and the fact that I'm like, oh fuck, Kana's fucking screwed now. And then two, I gotta get through fucking work. I ended up going to the AEW Dynamite showing tonight, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get back at home probably sometime around 8 p.m. and then I gotta finally talk about this. And by the time the video review goes up, depending on how I feel, if I want to basically make sure I get it up late, if anything, the episode review is probably gonna go up tomorrow morning. We'll see. Obviously, when you're watching this video, you'll see. But dude, this episode, man, was absolutely insane. You know, last week I said I was scared for Kana because I was afraid that, Aqua pushed her away again, and I'm just like looking at the opening and I'm just seeing like looks like there's some symmetry like she may kill herself or hang herself. And I'm just like, bro. And then I watched this episode and I'm like, oh no. And then I go on Twitter and I see that the account or Twitter is basically saying, "Oh, here's promotional art for Oshino's Ko's scandal arc," and I'm like, "Scandal arc?" I'm like, "Oh no, bro! Wow." Listen, man. Right now, you can make your argument like the three best girls right now are Akane, Mem, and Kana, but obviously, a lot of fans they love Kana. She's definitely next to Mem, probably a fan favorite character because she's just so innocent. She's just a girl, and to see what the hell she got herself into in this episode, and I'm like, oh no, 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 no. That's not good. That's not good at all. No, 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 Kana. No, no, no. And you get the episode ending off with her getting picture taken by the paparazzi conveniently there and more than likely set up in this whole situation. And I'm just like, oh, Kana, no. So, look, because most of this review will be talking about the Kana shit, let's get the other stuff out the way. So, obviously, we have the shit about Aqua, and he's still having his issues with everything. Now, we start the episode off where we last left off with the cliffhanger with Akane. And again, she continues to deduce and figure out everything, and she realizes, oh shit, this is what happens. Aqua and Akane's father, father, Ruby's father, Aqua and Ruby's father, was 16. I was 15. It's clear they had a relationship. They must have did the dirty at one point, and conveniently enough, man doesn't decide to probably wear protection, and it ends up getting I pregnant, and boom, right? Now, she does say like the dude was working at that production company from when he was age 10 to age 16. And then after that, he just basically upped and disappeared and left. Now, is it because he was shunned away by the directors and everything because eventually it came out I was pregnant? I don't know. But he went away, and then conveniently, obviously I gets pregnant, and maybe that's the thing he knew. He figured out that he got her pregnant, so he's like, maybe I got to distance myself away from her. And the case is, you know, that that was the whole thing. Or again, maybe he was used, and he is another figment of society when it comes to how these directors take advantage of child actors and things like that. Maybe he did something. Maybe he was forced to sleep with I or something like this for a fucking gig or something, or for all we fucking know, what shit, bro. What if fucking I was this mastermind evil person and she wasn't as bubbly as we thought she was, right? Maybe she forced dude to sleep with him to say, "Oh, I can let the director know you're nothing special. I can get you out of this gig if you say don't sleep with me," right? So we don't know. That's gonna be the whole mystery within itself, right there. Like, okay, why the fuck did he even put a hit on his, I guess on his, you know, girl at the time, a girl that he got pregnant, one of the more popular idols in the series, right? And why did he do that to get back at her or, the children? I don't know. We're gonna probably find that out. And Akane is basically deducing this, and she's like, I can't tell Aqua. And I'm like, oh, yes, okay. And I figured, I'm like, is she gonna tell him or is she not gonna tell him? And again, this goes from this whole stance that she does not want him to go back to his gloomy self like that. Now, and the gloomy self that wants to kill his father, right? And basically, she also deduces like, well, in any event, he technically was a victim in this because they were both underage and stuff like that. So in reality, Aqua couldn't bring him to justice if he wanted to. The only way he could bring him to justice is if he were to actually kill his own father, which that's when Akane makes the decision. I can't let Aqua get involved in this. I gotta be the one to get involved in this. Now, as I was watching this part of the episode, and then even after I was done, I was thinking about it because it was in my head all day during work because it was not hard to watch other people's reactions and then just be like, "Fuck, man, I want to talk about this episode so fucking bad." Um, At first, I was thinking, I remember that moment where their father killed this chick at the end of season 2. At first I was thinking, I'm like, I remember she had blue hair and she said murderer. And I'm like, I wonder if that was Akane. Now, I ended up seeing that clip on Twitter where he did kill that person, and it was definitely not Akane because the hair was lighter blue, um, and stuff like that. So, yeah. Now, who knows? Maybe that was her, and she was wearing a light blue wig. I don't know, but I highly doubt it. But Akane, seemingly enough, looks like she's gonna take things into her own hand here. Um, I'm very fearful of that because this guy is a fucking stone cold murderer. And he's killing people like as if he's definitely out there to prove a point that he's been wronged. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm scared for Akane now that she feels like she needs to get herself involved in this situation now. Just as much as I'm scared of Kana and what the hell she's getting herself into, I'm scared for Akane now. So I'm most worried. See, right now, I'm most worried about Akana, and then shortly right after her is Akane because I don't know anything to do with their father and the unpredictability about what the father could do. So there's that. Now, Aqua does give her a call, right? And they do have a conversation. And basically, Aqua's still in this gloomy state. Um, is just like, please tell me what to do. What do you think I need to do? And Akane can clearly tell he's being his gloomy self, and she's like, look, man, like you need to make your own decisions. Like it's up to you. And the least all I can do for you is I'll support you on these decisions because I'm here for you, right? Because I love you. And honestly, it was a nice heart to heart moment because we actually get a nice, development in the relationship, right? Where Aqua actually says like, I actually really do appreciate you. At first I didn't really care, but now, I do care and I can tell like you do care. And you're looking out for me and I can tell that, you care about me a lot and, for that I really do care and love you for that. And it was a nice heart to heart conversation. You know, Now, look. Is this going to be the answer? Is this conversation the answer it needs? Is he going to go back to his old ways? Maybe he doesn't for a few bit. Maybe it's like, okay, maybe I'm just going to get off my brain. And then eventually at some point, it's going to click back in and we'll see what's going to happen next. Maybe he is going to have some involvement in this Kana scandal arc. I guess we'll find out because in reality, Kana got herself in this situation because she's been feeling this whole depressed about this situation and stuff like that because of the shit that's been going on with her and Aqua. So is he going to take some time? Is he going to realize what he did was wrong and get involved in the situation when this whole scandal thing is going on? We'll find out. So yes, and then we get this moment in the episode in the Strawberry Productions room where Ruby's director, I forgot his name, her sister is kind of getting called out for something she said years ago. It's your typical thing of like, oh, you said something like maybe 10 years ago, and it's like it resurfaces, and then you kind of get a little bit canceled over that shit. Now listen I'm of the opinion, and that's kind of me. If you put something out that you said maybe something how many years ago, more than likely there's still some harboring senses of what you felt. Like if that was the case, then more than likely, you delete that immediately. And also too, it's also that situation where it's like, okay, think before what you say something, or think before you tweet or post something to social media. Because eventually all eyes are going to get on it. And even if you do delete it, someone's going to take a screenshot. And then eventually, years down the road, when maybe you're successful, somebody's going to be like, oh, I remember when this guy said something so offensive that I know it's going to hurt people. And guess what? You may not live by those values in the present day. And there's always time for forgiveness. But that will be a stain on you because, like, at some point, you did have those type of thoughts. So. That's the thing, and it's interesting to me she had these thoughts, and it's seemingly from the way it sounds like Ruby's talking, it sounds like Ruby wants her to join B Komachi. Okay, all right. So, dude's sister, the director's sister, may potentially join B Komachi. Then we end up getting into basically some other stuff and things like that, right? And basically, it's Miyako bringing up about, what you essentially do under agencies and things like that, right? Like for example, she brings up the trademark stuff. She tells Ruby like I trademark your name. So if you were to say leave Strawberry Productions, you can't go anywhere else and use your name Ruby Hoshino. And Ruby's like, "What? That's my actual name though." And obviously Miyako's like, well, we trademarked it, so you can't do anything. And basically Miyako says it's basically a reason to try to keep people in their said production company, right? So they don't leave because it's like, well, okay, if Ruby was to leave Strawberry Productions, well, she got to be called by something else. She can't be called Ruby Hoshino. Now I don't know if that means she can use Ruby, but I highly doubt she would be able to even use her first name. She'd probably have to come up with a whole new fucking name if she works for another company to promote her and do all these other things, right? Because, the simple thing about trademark, that's basically copyright. She can't go out there and use her real name in another country or another company production studio when legitimately or excuse me, when legitimately Strawberry Productions has the rights to her name. So it was funny how she got all pissed about that. And that little scene, it actually felt to me like we got a little bit of the old Ruby there from basically before she started to become demon time Ruby, right? So I did see that whole thing. And then Miyako made some good points. Like, look, at the end of the day, if you're interacting with anybody or another, company or studio, you gotta let me know because that way we can see if we can work something out together, and see if we can obviously get approval. And obviously, I would be the one to give you approval for another studio to basically use your rights and everything, and stuff like that, right? And this was conveniently after Kana ended up meeting and connecting with said person. Because even Miyako made the mention, like, look, don't give out your contact information, don't do anything. I'm supposed to be the one that handles your contact information and your connections and, who, you're potentially could work with, um, on the side and everything, right? Um, so don't do that. Now, Miyako does make the mention. Now, when it comes to relationships, we don't touch that because look, that's your own personal stuff and everything. Now, we obviously advise you to be with somebody obviously smart and everything and good for your career. But like, look, we're not gonna get involved. We won't touch your personal life. You do what you need to do in your relationship life. Like, we won't intrude upon that. If you have a relationship, you're free to do that. Look, we just make sure you keep it professional and you do what you need to do to make sure like essentially shit don't get out to the point where you're getting in trouble. And Miyako does make tell ever all the girls like, hey, if something does come up and it's not a good situation, let me know. Shoot me over a text, give me a call, let me know so then I can go over there, help you out, ease all the issues there. And meaningly, we found at this point, like I made mention earlier, Kana had already interacted with the said director, and already had given the line ID and the phone number over to be able to be in contact. And it's like, oh. And meanwhile, during this whole thing, Kana's just saying like, maybe I am the weak link. Nobody really cares about me. They're mostly caring about Ruby and everything. So, maybe I might need to get back into this acting gig stuff. Like, maybe an idol thing wasn't meant for me. Maybe I just ran its course and I'm not good enough, right? Maybe it's best that I don't be an idol anymore. Maybe it's best for me to get back into the acting gig. Now, before all this thing, right? Um, Ruby. Kana gets attacked, and she goes to like this bar pub area with the chick that we saw that I'm going to imply is the director's wife and the girl that clearly set Kana up. Now, in this freaking underground bar pub thing, and I'm like, and the moment she Kana walked into this, and I'm like, I'm watching the episode, and I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Why are you here? And even though Kana said, like, idols shouldn't be here. Like, I'm an idol. I don't think I'm allowed to be here. And obviously the girl's like, oh, come on, please. There's a girl over there who's like a part of another big idol group. She's over here, drinking and everything. And Kana's was like, all right, okay. And I'm just like, no, that's not good. No, no, no. I don't think you should be here. And I'm just like, the moment you had any doubts or any reasoning of why you should not be there, you probably should leave. That's probably the best thing you need to do. Which, time and time again, it's always the number one thing to do in just common sense. If you know you're not in an area, or you probably shouldn't be somewhere where you should be, you probably shouldn't go there. Because usually bad things happen. And this situation kind of happened. So basically, this girl, and one, we do find out like Kana does not like this girl whatsoever. So I'm like, why would you even agree to meet this chick? And you don't even like her. Like it's very much clear. Like she does not like what she stands for. And apparently these two work together, but Kana was not a fan. This is not one of Kana's fan favorites people, right? So you have that situation, right? So basically, this girl kind of sweet talks her a bit and say, and basically, this is when the director, the guy comes in and it's like, hey, congrats, hey, it's nice to meet you and things like that. We found out like he's a very big director overseas, and everything. Um, and basically, knowing that, Kana wants to get back in the acting gig, he's like, hey, maybe we can sit down, have a talk, maybe talk something about, maybe getting you a gig and, getting you into acting and stuff like that, because I see a lot of potential in you and everything. And look, man, look, I'll give this director props, bro. And I'll talk about the bad side of what this director was doing too, but I'll give this director's props. He definitely did the task at hand when it comes to sweet talking people to actually convince them, especially putting on this face as if he's this, nice dude and very looking out for the said people or the said actor and everything for their best interest. And then we'll talk about what happens near the tail in the episode. But it's like, and there was one thing I was seeing throughout the entire, not only the reviews I was watching, but even the reactions. A lot of people were reacting to these episodes, watching this, or reviewing the episode, saying like, "Hey, Albeit this dude was a scum, piece of shit. The one thing he had going in his favor, he was definitely a fucking sweet talker, and he definitely, caught his eye, can catch your eyes and lure you in. And that's what happened with Kana. She was lured in by this guy and the way he was talking, and she was thinking like, you know what? I can get to superstardom. This guy actually, oh, holy shit, this guy actually believes in me. He actually thinks I'm actually talented. Because he was even saying like, look, I know, look, there's actors like you all over the place. Like, people who are down on their luck, but they're actually really talented and they got a whole bunch of potential. I can bring that out of you. And I'm like, oh, bring that out of you. Okay. What do you mean by that? So essentially what happens is Ruby's got to go, right? Or Ruby, fuck. Kana's got to go. Um, and I also saw this thrown around too. Like, is this dude or is this actress who I think is the director's wife, right? Um, are they trying to get to Ruby and tank her career because she's becoming very popular, very big? Were they trying to get her to work with them and try to screw her over? I don't know. I don't know. So they basically exchanged line IDs or phone numbers and things like that to stay in touch. And I'm like, yes. And then eventually Miyako brought that up in the conversation after that moment. And I'm like, oh, so this is not going to be a good idea to do that. And kind of willingly gave her contact information to this girl and this dude, people that she somewhat doesn't really know like that. Okay, fantastic idea. So she's thinking about this and she's realizing, like, maybe the idol thing isn't my gig. Maybe I need to change things up. Maybe I need to get back to acting. And that's when she shows over the text, like, okay, hey, I want to meet up with the director to talk about the potential role he was maybe potentially offering, right? So the girl obviously texts the director, like, hey, she wants to meet up, right? So basically, it was implied that it was going to be her, Kana, the director, and then the chick, right? The actress chick. So he goes to this restaurant, right? Or Kana goes to this restaurant, and it's only him. Only him. And I'm just like, I am not liking this right now. These two alone. He looks like he's drinking and getting himself drunk. Oh, don't tell me where this is fucking going, ain't it, huh? And again, he's sweet talking her about the role. Kana does ask, like, hey, so does that mean I'm gonna get the role? And dude's like, oh no, 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 no. I can't really give you the role because I don't know who you are. I don't know, anything about you. Who's to say I give you the role and then we start doing the filming and then guess what? We have created differences of how maybe you're being portrayed. And he uses this line of saying like, "Hey, I want to know the soul within you. I want to know what drives you. What is you? What basically what is inside you?" And I'm like, "Oh, don't tell me where I think where this is gonna fucking go. Don't tell me what he means by I want to get to know you better." Because he said that. He's like, "I want to get to know you better. Maybe we can have more chats like this." And I'm like, "Huh? What?" Now, in the first conversation, now in this restaurant, he did reveal he has a wife, right? Now, I was not reading that. I don't know why I skipped that over my head. It wasn't until they got into the apartment house, right? So essentially, what happens is his time in the restaurant is running up. So I wonder if that was also a setup too, right there by him to tell the waitress like, "Hey, I'm trying to do so and so, blah 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 blah. I'm trying to do this. Hey, tell me, let me know when I have or here at this time, you know, let me know that I have limited time." Limited time, which if they're in a restaurant, I think you have every right to be in a said restaurant unless the restaurant obviously closes up early, right? Now we don't know if this restaurant that they were in, had like was starting to close up, and then and the waitress was like, "Hey, you only got a few more minutes." But knowing my whole thing, my guess is with the fact that this is a whole setup, I would not be shocked if the director basically told the waitress, "Hey, at so and so time, let me know my time is coming up because, I need something. I need to get to something important, right? And obviously, without going into much details, obviously the waitress is gonna do what she's being told, right? Because that's the thing that she's being told to do, right? Which is absolutely crazy to say the least that this dude was doing this and everything to just set everything up, and I'm just like, okay, what? So he basically ends up saying like, hey, why don't we just go over to my studio and we can talk more about this? My, my, and essentially he's like, it's right around the corner from here, and I'm like, this place is right around the corner from your studio. Okay, all right, and he's like, and he ends up saying like, he also says like, oh, don't worry, my staff is still there, in the workplace. They'd be really happy to meet you and everything. So yeah. And Kana's just like, I don't know. And also too, the dude does mention he's like, now look, I know you're a kid, and it is a little late, so I don't want to keep you up and everything and things like that. Maybe we can continue this conversation at a later point in time, right? And Kana, because she's not thinking right, and she's just thinking like this idol gig is not going to work out for me, and she sees like, and she clearly wants to get back into the acting thing. And she's like, this could be my moment to make it big, right? Everything's been going bad for me with the Aqua stuff, the idol stuff. This is my chance to get back into acting, make a name for myself again, and get back to being big, maybe as big as Ruby, right? So I got to do this now. We do kind of does explain how she's 18 in this episode, right? And she's like, no, no, it's okay. I am an adult. And I'm like, no, no, no. You can say you're an adult, but you're still a kid, I guess you can say, or a teenager making poor decisions. So she makes the poor decision to agree to go to the studio. And she texts so and so, "Hey, I'm going to go to the studio with the director, his studio with the director." And the girl gets this. Mind you, clearly the girl was setting this whole situation up because she wasn't even close to probably where they were at. She was in some bar. So looks at the text that Kana sends her, which I think was another mistake. Like, you probably should not be texting this girl, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I think she only texted this girl because, A, she's supposed to be here, right? But then again, it's like, well, if you could tell like this girl wasn't here. Okay, you probably shouldn't say that, and you should probably just say like the following morning, like, hey, where were you at? Blah 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 blah. But we had this great conversation, you know, things like that. So the moment Kana texted her that, she gets up, boo 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 boo. Hi, and then it silences it, and then it cuts away to them walking to the studio. And when I was seeing that walk, I'm like, studio? I'm like, that shit don't look like no damn studio. That shit looks like a penthouse. And I'm just like, what the fuck? So then Kana walks in, and then she's just observing, and she's like, yeah, I should have figured this is what it was. I see a bed. This isn't a studio. I see a bed. There's nothing here. And I'm like, oh God. I'm like, don't tell me what I think is going to happen, what is going to happen. And this one I was getting scared. I'm like, Kana, get the fuck out of there before you get yourself into trouble. But Kana's like, you know what? No, I'll play the card of like, oh, you know what time it's this type of time, basically trying to signify like, oh, I'm having a period right now and things like that, right? So I can't really do that stuff. Ha 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 ha. And I'm just like, no, 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 you can't really say that because if this dude is a crazy director, well, he won't give a shit if you are on your period. He will still smack some cheek, or I won't say will smack some cheeks. He'll clap some cheeks if need be. So he basically asked her, like, hey, you want a drink? And she's like, no, no, I'm underage. I'll just take a cola. He's like, all right. So at least he did the right thing. And again, albeit scum of a director by doing what he was trying to do, he was honorable in some aspects, right? He had some honorable. He did ask like, "Hey, you're still a young kid. I don't want to keep you out. We can go have this conversation later on, right?" Um, and then the whole, you want me to get you some alcohol? And she's like, "No, I want cola." And he actually did give her soda, right? So essentially, um, this man sits down and he basically again goes into his whole soliloquy and everything about what he needs from her in order to do this role and everything, and basically he starts to kind of, I want to say, lead her on, but then he starts to be more expressive of things like that, and Kana's like, why would you wouldn't be interested? I'm like, oh come on, there's no shot you'd be interested in me like that. And dude's like, oh man, of course I'd be interested in you and like that. You're cute and everything. And dude is and Kana's like, but you're married. Like, if you were to do that, like, wouldn't that piss off your wife? And I think this is at the point where Kana realizes, like, okay, I think it's very much clear this dude probably wants to sleep with me, right? And that's why she said the question, the whole thing of like, you do know your wife, you have a wife, like wouldn't she be mad at you? And dude is like, oh yes, but look, my wife also fools around too, so we kind of keep it, a kind of show and tell type of thing, right? Basically signifying like, oh, we know we're fooling around with other women and other men, but we kind of act like as if that's, no big deal and it's fine and we're okay with that, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's not cool. Yeah, no, that's not a. I don't think that's a healthy marriage. Albeit, it's okay. It sounds like a stable one at best, where it's like, okay, you guys are fooling around with other women and other men to probably do what you need them to do, um, and you kind of just stay out of that business, right? Each other's business. But I'm like, that's effed up, bro. That's effed up. And this is when he starts to get a little bit closer, and he's like, look, hey, you take my offer, I can make you into the biggest star you possibly can ever be, right? And he basically starts to caress her cheek. And then Abuzakana's like, what the fuck should I be doing? And then he starts to lay her down, and it looks like he's going in for a kiss, and at the same time also looking to take her clothes off and start stripping her down. And I'm watching this episode this morning. I'm like, nah, bro. Ain't no way. Kana's gonna go against everything. And she's just gonna fucking just lay down, take it, and sleep with a dude just to get a fucking acting gig. And she's thinking about like, you know, I could be big again. I could be a star out there. Maybe this isn't too bad if I do this thing. And I'm like, no, Kana, no, no, this would be very bad if you were to do this. Because if it gets out you did this, well, it's not gonna go. It's not gonna go well for you. And again, this is a girl who still is young, who's 18 years old, who's feeling the pressure of the world. The guy that she likes keeps pushing her away. She doesn't know how to deal with that. She feels empty. She feels hollow. She feels like this other person that they might potentially recruit to become what she could end up being something that replaces her. And at the same time, it's like she wants to be a big actor again. And she wants to get back on the acting gig. And it's like, if I get this role, shit, I could be as popular as Ruby is potentially. And it looked like, and she had those dead look in her eyes. And it looked like, oh shit, she's gonna go through with this. And I'm just like, and he's getting closer and he's getting closer. And I'm like, oh my God, she's going to fucking do. We're gonna get a moment where she's gonna wake up in the morning and she's gonna be naked, and the director is gonna be right there getting changed and be like, so, you got the role. Congrats. Oh, and I made sure to get some snapshots of you, right? So guess what, and some video of us fooling around, right? So guess what? You can't exactly leave this position and blurt out to me that I so and so did this with you, right? Um, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, Kana. But then she looks into at the aquarium tank right there, and she looks at this like jellyfish thing, and then she gets this light in her eyes, and then she sees Aqua there, and that's when she starts getting emotional. She starts crying, and she's like, "I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't." And she says, "Like I love somebody else. I just can't do this." And to the defense. Now, I will give credit to the director again. Scummy way to do what he did, and he tried to do the cast, the cast couch or the couch casting type of thing. And for people who don't know what a cast couching or a couch casting is, basically, it is a director basically putting a chick on a couch, basically sweet talking their way to get a gig, and basically saying like, "Hey, I can get you this gig." Only if you so and so sleep with me. And if you sleep with me and you have sex with me, well, I can get you this gig. I can hook you up. Now, in the United States, that's legal. I don't know in Japan if that is ill or no, not in the United States, it's illegal. My bad. In Japan, I don't know if it is legal. It probably is illegal to do, but because so many directors probably get away with that shit, and shit, even in the States, that's happened, right? There are these sleazeball dudes, these sleazeball directors, and things like that, that do that. Obviously, Weinstein, Harvey Weinstein, Daniel Snyder from the Nickelodeon drama and stuff like that. You know, doing these disgusting acts, and we've seen, and time and time again, there's been like cases where people have been actresses have been cast couched with a director and they know I need to make it big. This is my way to get it to make it big. Fuck it. I'll just endure it. I'll fucking just deal with whatever comes my way. But at the end of the day, I can overcome this because I'm gonna be big and popular and everything, and stuff like that. So you know what? I'll do it with a person that I have no aspirations of doing it because I want to make it big. And that's the thing with these directors. They pressure these up and coming actresses to do things they more than likely should not be doing ethically, but they know, and they have this sweet talking persona saying, I can be the one to make you big. I can do this. I can do that. Otherwise, I can go out there, trash your name, and say you over at so and so place. And in a weird way, it is kind of a form of blackmail. Now, again, to this director's point, when Kana says, I don't want to do this, I love somebody else, or I have feelings for somebody else, he does back off. And I was like, okay, this dude is still a dick and he's still a scumbag for what he tried to do with Kana, but he backed the fuck off. He said, all right, I won't mess with you, right? And then you just have it to where Kana basically so and so explains about Aqua and shit like that. And he basically hold on, guys, hold on. Okay, sorry for that. Sorry for that. So then, um, he explains this. It seems like, okay, maybe from her explaining, maybe that helps her potentially get the gig. And then she walks outside, and the problem is when she walks outside, it looks like it's the wee hours in the morning, like it's 7 a.m. going on to 8 a.m. And then, her hair looks a little bit frazzled, and she looks dead tired and everything, and she's like, oh man. Well, hey, that's good. And then as she's leaving, you hear snip, 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 and you see somebody taking a picture in a car. And that's how the episode ends. And I saw that, and I tell you, man, my jaw dropped and my heart dropped. And I'm just like, oh no. Oh, she's in trouble. So it's clear. This woman and the director potentially. Again, this director could have put on a nice face and everything and did the right thing and said, "Don't worry, we got the backup plan." Because I would not be shocked if the director was in on this whole thing with this chick, who I believe 100% is his wife. I'm just gonna throw out the prediction: the girl we saw that Kana does not like, that's more than likely the director's wife. Now, she's an actor. You could be saying, well, how does she does her fooling around? Maybe it's again, she helps maybe she fools around with directors and everything to get gigs that she wants because she's an attractive lady. More than likely, that's probably what she does to get these gigs. Or, maybe she's trying to help another actor get a gig. Oh, I'll help you. Sleep with me. But for all we know, this director could be a sleaze as much as a sleazeball as her and pay and play into set getting kind of set up. Because I think if maybe say if he did sleep with her, I could perfectly see it where as they're blah 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 getting it on, he has his phone in the background by chance. What is it? Yeah, he has his phone in the background, maybe like recording or something like that, or maybe some sort of camera in the bedroom or something, or in in that area on the couch where he has video evidence of Kana basically him doing it, right? One of the two. So I do believe he would have had a backup plan where he could have just gave a call and said, "Hey, you don't need to tell that member to go away. I got video evidence right here, and you know what, right?" And she could be like, "All right, I'll let her know." But clearly, that member was put there, and she was and kind of was set up. And now it's gonna be look like when this gets out in the media that Kana Arima went over to this big time director's house and came out of this person's house the following morning. And what are the people in the public going to think when they see this news? They're going to think that, and guess what? Also adds on with the fact if Kana does get the role and she does get casted for this role, guess what? You know what this is going to do? When she gets casted for the role, this news is going to come out. And when this news comes out, and when Kana is revealed that Kana is with this director and she's got this lead gig, and then they're going to release these photos, the media, news will break out, and then you're gonna have the common fan be like, she hasn't been doing acting for a while. She's been only doing this idol stuff. Now she conveniently wants to get to acting. She's got this number one role, and now she came out of the director's office. Whoa, whoa, whoa! That means she must have slept with the director to get that job, and that's not gonna look good on her because now it's gonna make her look like she's some, a W word or an S word, if you know what I mean, that will do whatever it takes and will sleep with directors to get a gig. It's not going to look good on Strawberry Productions because she's also an idol too. That's going to tank their brand because their brand is already successful. That can make them lose subscribers for what she did. That can make the whole B Komichi go back down under. And on top of it, this could have hurt her career. So now she'll be done as as an idol, more than likely. But now this may even kill her chances of being an actor because you know what's going to do? The director's going to hear all the director's going to play it off, especially if he was in on this whole setup thing. He's going to be like, "I'm sorry, Kana. There's just way too much blowback. I got to cut you loose from this project. I'm getting this person to so and so do this role for me." And it's like, what the fuck? Now, what I've been seeing going around before I ended off the video too. I've seen some people in the community, some people who are reacting to the anime, and some people reviewing this. And even I looked in some of their comment sections too. Some people are saying, bro, what if Ruby set this whole shit up? Because in the last few episodes, we found out she set the whole shit up with that cosplay thing. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, bro, no. There's no shot she has a role to play in this. But maybe she does. Maybe she already could tell from a distance. Kana looks like her heart's not fully into this thing. Maybe I set her up to get back at her for not caring so much. Okay, I'll do this. I'll end it all for her. Dude, look, all I'm going to say is this. If Ruby is this master manipulator of this master setup thing, if she is the master manipulator, if she is the person that told this lady, hey, reach out to Kana Arima, Tell her to meet this director. I know she wants to get back into acting because she does not like how popular I'm getting. I want you to set her up. Make it seem as if she did something with the director indecent. If Ruby, if Ruby is the main culprit and she set this whole shit up, like she did with the cosplay thing in the last little mini arc we got there, dog. Oh my God, bro. She did, dude. I'm not gonna believe she had a role to play. I think it's strictly the director and his wife, which is that chick or that bitch essentially, right? Who set Kana up. But if Ruby set Kana up to kick her out of the group, maybe bring in her manager's sister to replace her, and B Komichi goes off to even higher heights than it did with Kana. Oh man, I was saying Ruby is on demon time. No, dude, Ruby is the fucking devil. She would be the devil in this fucking show. If that is actually coming out to be the fact that she set Kana up and she was the main reason, dude, oh my goodness. I don't know how I would feel. And Ruby's one of my favorite characters. And I'm enjoying this demon time Ruby. But man, from a character standpoint, that was fucking low of her to do. At that point, I'd just be like, you know what? I don't want you in the group anymore. Because technically, you can make the case she is now the full-blown leader. At first, in season one, and then a little bit in season two, she was basically where Kana was at. She wasn't really, Kana was mostly the leader of the group. But now that Ruby's got all this fame and popularity, now she's technically kind of the leader. So if Ruby set this whole situation up, dude, I don't know how I feel about that. And I'm like, damn, you really kick somebody you would probably consider a friend to the curb like that? And on top of it, one of your coworkers? But I wouldn't be surprised because Ruby has this change now. She's not nice every day, go lucky, happy, I want to be an idol Ruby anymore. It's like she flipped that switch and said, no, I need to, I'm gonna go on demon time now. And that's something that a devil would do to purposely end somebody's career, probably like that. I don't know what the next episode is going to do, but man, I knew after last week, I knew this show was gonna pick up. And this show was most definitely picked up, and this was a twist. This was the twist that a lot of people said, man, you're gonna be tossed for all circles around this. And again, I'm still waiting for the moment to see what is the moment where it gets people to hate this show. But then again, I did watch another reviewer, and this said reviewer, A.H. Brandon, who's one of my favorite YouTubers, like to watch him do reviews of animes that I watch on a weekly basis. He did mention in his video that most of the hate Oshi No Ko gets is because the shipping fucking wars and who so and so ends up with by the end of the story. And if that's the fucking case, then if that's the fucking case, that one of the if one of the main reasons why people hate Oshi No Ko is because Aqua didn't hook up with somebody that they probably wanted a fan favorite character. Well then it just adds on to the many other series where I see like, oh, blah 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 blah. Like My Hero Academia. Spoiler for My Hero Academia if you haven't seen it, but it's like you get the epilogue chapter that rounds up the story, and you can clearly fucking tell that Deku no Chaco are going to be a couple. That at the last moments of that epilogue chapter, which is going to be an episode we're going to be getting in about a few months from now, we know that Deku no Chaco are going to start a relationship and be a couple. And I remember the outlash and the backlash of people being so upset about the Deku and Ochako relationship absolutely being a confirmed pairing, essentially, because you had these shippers shipping Deku with fucking Bakugo. And you had the shipping wars of that, and some people fucking said My Hero Academia is trash because fucking Deku didn't hook up with fucking Bakugo and he wasn't dating him by the end of the show. And I'm like, dude, you're really freaking hating on a show, or your likes or dislikes of a show happens based on who the fuck the main character ends up with? Dude, if freaking Aqua ends up with a fucking girl that we have yet to see in this fucking series, that's not gonna piss me off. Fuck, I've said it time and time again. I think when I watch Oshi No Ko, I personally think, in my honest fucking opinion, the end game for who I think Aqua's gonna hook up with by the end of the series is probably gonna be Ruby. You want to know why? Because when Ruby in her past life said, I want to be with you, doctor. And at some point, I already know she's going to figure out the truth and she's going to find out that Aqua is actually the doctor. And then she's going to fall head over heels. And then, I don't know, maybe she does something to blackmail him with her evil ass. And it forces him to hook up with her. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I think Endgame is going to be Aqua and Ruby. I just think that. I just think that. But we'll see where that goes. We'll see where it goes. But I can wholeheartedly. But again, like I said, if it isn't really a major story point, and personally, whenever I see the most hated part of Oshi no Ko, I'm probably gonna look at it and be like, okay, it's not bad. Because that's how I typically watch my animes. When I see a hated part, and people were like, oh man, this part sucked. I watch it, and then I'm like, oh, that actually wasn't fucking bad. It's like the My Hero Academia, again, going back to My Hero Academia. It's like with the My Hero Academia manga, when the manga ended and you got the ending, people hated the ending for whatever reason, even though the ending made 100% sense or 100% sense in the way how that ended and shit like that. But people were so upset about the ending of that series now and ended. So Horikoshi still gave an extended chapter, and then still there is, albeit some people felt like, oh yeah, this ending is a little bit better for my taste. But you still had people who hated the end that ending for that epilogue chapter and said it still sucks. So look, man, you can't really please anybody nowadays. And then again, everybody is entitled to their own opinion and how they feel what they want to feel. But if you know you didn't like it, you don't like it. Shit, the series done is done by Aka, who's also does Kaguya Sama Love is War. I mentioned it, I think, a week or two ago when I was doing the review of this show. I literally said it. Like, dude, people are upset that how the anime or how the author is handling the anime ending for not Oshi no Ko for Kaguya Sama Love is War. Like, people were upset by that when we got the special and we found out how it's gonna end, and people were upset by that, and they're like, "What the fuck?" But you can't please anybody. But look, man, this episode was great. I'm so fearful of Kana. I'm so excited for next Wednesday to see what the fuck is going to happen to this poor girl. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I can perfectly see the next episode, bro. A few days pass. Next thing you know, she walks into Strawberry Productions. Everybody's looking at her. Miyako, Ruby, or Miyako and Mem are looking at her like, Kana, what the fuck did you do? And Kana's been like, what are you talking about? Miyako's gonna turn on the TV and turn on the news. That. What were you doing? Why were you sleeping with another director? And she's gonna look at that and she's like, oh fuck. And that's when she's gonna have to tell Miyako everything. And Miyako's probably gonna chew her ass out, saying, I told you, let me in on these conversations about other gigs because shit like this happens. And guess what? Miyako's probably gonna believe Kana and she's gonna say, these people set you up, Kana. You don't understand what you're dealing with. So, and it's gonna be interesting. Is Miyako gonna say, like, look, I think it's best you go home, you lay low, you don't leave your house, you don't do anything, you stay off social media. We'll look to try to address the blowback and try to shoot all these rumors down and everything and stuff like that and do the best thing we can do. But right now, I need you to stay at home. I won't be shocked if Miyako tells her to do that because that's the only thing she can do. So We'll see. We'll see. But anyways, if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts. Hit that subscribe button if you want to get more Oshi No Ko content or any other anime content I upload to the channel. But till then, guys, stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Till then, guys, peace.